I remember that bone-chilling Christmas Eve vividly. It was the night when our defiance met an ancient force we never thought existed. We, a group of unruly kids, had dismissed the tales of Krampus as mere folklore, thinking we were invincible. It all began with us, the Parker cousins, notorious troublemakers in our small town. Fueled by our disbelief in the existence of Krampus, we concocted a plan to stay up and expose the myth. Armed with makeshift traps and tricks, we thought we were in for a night of laughs at the expense of the old stories. As the clock struck midnight, the air thickened with an unsettling coldness. The house, once filled with our confident banter, now felt eerily silent. We exchanged nervous glances, our bravado waning with every passing second. Suddenly, our traps sprung to life without a trigger in sight. The air filled with an otherworldly chill, and shadows danced menacingly around us. A hulking figure, cloaked in darkness, appeared in the corners of the room, its eyes glowing with an otherworldly intensity. Krampus. Our hearts pounded in terror as we faced the embodiment of our disbelief. His towering presence and chains rattling sent shivers down our spines. In a nightmarish blur, he punished us for our arrogance, each punishment tailored to our individual misdeeds. The Smith siblings, known for their pranks, were tormented by illusions of their own mischievous tricks, backfiring on them, causing chaos and terror. The Johnson twins, who mocked the warnings of elders, found themselves surrounded by eerie hoofprints that appeared and disappeared around them, trapping them in a spectral circle of fear. And us, the Parkers, our smugness turned to horror as Krampus revealed our darkest secrets, haunting us with visions of our wrongdoings and the consequences we had ignored. As the night wore on, our defiance crumbled into sheer terror. We begged for mercy, pleading for the nightmare to end. But Krampus, an ancient judge of morals, showed no mercy to those who dared doubt his existence. When dawn finally broke, the town awoke to find our homes empty, no trace of us to be found. They spoke in hushed tones of the children who dared to challenge the legend of Krampus, warning others of the consequences that befell us. Our fate remained a chilling reminder to the town's children, a story whispered in fear and respect, ensuring that they would never question the existence of Krampus again. And as for us, we were forever lost in the darkness, a cautionary tale etched into the town's folklore, a grim reminder of the consequences of disbelief. I never imagined that a simple act of foolishness could lead to such a horrifying revelation. My friend, always boastful and overly confident, had scribbled a disrespectful note to Santa, mocking the holiday spirit. Despite my warnings, he laughed it off, dismissing any consequences. On that fateful Christmas Eve, unease gnawed at me as I hesitated to call my friend. When I received no response, a sense of dread settled over me. Ignoring the biting cold, I made my way to his house, hoping for a simple explanation for his absence. As I approached, I noticed an eerie silence shrouding his usually lively home. Darkness engulfed the windows, an ominous stillness that sent a chill down my spine. I hesitated, a sense of foreboding growing within me, but something compelled me to peer inside. The sight that greeted me shattered my world. Through the frost-covered window, I witnessed a scene of unimaginable horror. Krampus, a grotesque and malevolent figure, loomed over my friend, his presence emanating terror. My friend, who moments ago exuded confidence, was now at the mercy of the ancient spirit. Krampus, with his clawed hands and haunting gaze, viciously tore him apart, his screams lost in the night, a haunting symphony of terror. I stood frozen, unable to comprehend the nightmare unfolding before my eyes. The grisly spectacle etched itself into my memory, a macabre reminder of the consequences of arrogance and disrespect. As Krampus finished his dreadful act, a shiver ran down my spine, and a chilling realization struck me. My friend's fate was sealed, a punishment for his hubris and disregard for the holiday's spirit. I stumbled back, horror-stricken and nauseated, unable to erase the gruesome scene etched into my mind. That night, I raced home, consumed by a cocktail of fear, guilt, and disbelief. The festive lights and cheerful decorations now felt like a cruel facade, hiding the darker, malevolent forces that lurked in the shadows. The memory of witnessing Krampus's merciless wrath haunted my dreams, a constant reminder of the consequences of disrespect and the fragility of the holiday's magic. The joyous spirit of Christmas was forever tainted by the gruesome image I couldn't erase, the price paid for my friend's brash arrogance. The night was tense, crackling with an eerie energy that sent shivers down my spine. My wife and I, determined to protect our children from the ancient menace of Krampus, sat vigilant, our eyes scanning the darkness outside our home. We had heard the whispers, the warnings passed down through generations about the horned creature who sought out naughty children on Christmas Eve. With our little ones tucked safely in bed, we stationed ourselves by the window, peering into the snowy night, ready to fend off any threat that dared approach. As the hours crawled by, exhaustion weighed heavy on our eyelids. Despite our resolve, fatigue gnawed at us, and in a moment of vulnerability, we dozed off in the chairs outside, our guard momentarily lowered. Suddenly, a deafening crash shattered the stillness, jolting us awake. My heart pounded in my chest as I rushed inside, the echoes of the disturbance ringing in my ears. I found myself in a nightmare. The scene unfolded before my eyes, like a horror movie playing out in real time. Krampus, his dark figure towering over my two children, his presence exuding an otherworldly malevolence. My instincts screamed at me to protect my family, and I lunged forward, a futile attempt to shield them from the looming threat. But before I could reach them, a force slammed into me, hurling me against the wall with bone-jarring impact. The crash reverberated through the room as I collided with a mirror, the glass shattering around me like a cascade of icy shards. Pain exploded through my body, but it was nothing compared to the searing fear that gripped my heart. I watched helplessly as Krampus snatched my children, his grasp firm and unyielding, and with a chilling howl, he vanished into the night, leaving behind a trail of despair and terror. I struggled to rise, adrenaline masking the agony coursing through my veins. The sight of the shattered mirror reflected a fractured reality, a home torn asunder, innocence ripped away, and the agonizing emptiness of failure. My wife rushed to my side, her eyes filled with anguish and disbelief. We were left shattered, not just by the physical pain, but by the unbearable loss of our children, stolen away by an ancient force we couldn't comprehend. As the echoes of Krampus's departure faded into the night, we were left with a haunting emptiness, our hearts torn asunder by the cruel reality of our failure to protect what mattered most. The horror of that Christmas Eve would forever haunt our shattered souls, a reminder of the darkness that lurked beneath the festivities, forever altering the meaning of the holiday season for us. stories of Krampus always haunted me, lurking in the corners of my mind like shadows waiting to pounce. I was a little girl gripped by fear, always mindful of my actions, knowing the tales warned that misdeeds could lead to his wrath. But this Christmas Eve was different. I made a mistake, a small act of defiance that I knew could attract the attention of the ancient spirit. As the night settled in, a chill hung in the air and a sense of foreboding clung to my every breath. I glanced out the window and froze. There in the distance, I saw him, Krampus, riding a sleigh through the darkened sky. Panic surged through me, and I scrambled to find a place to hide, hoping beyond hope that he wouldn't notice me. The house seemed to shift into an eerie dark blue hue, casting haunting shadows in every corner. I darted from room to room, seeking refuge, my heart pounding against my ribcage like a relentless drumbeat. Hours passed, and I remained hidden, cowering in fear. But the fear was suffocating, the silence deafening, and the sense of impending doom grew heavier with each passing second. I was engulfed in a whirlwind of terror, the weight of my misdeed bearing down on me. Then, the faint jingle of chains echoed through the house, sending shivers down my spine. I held my breath, praying that Krampus wouldn't find me. But the atmosphere thickened, the air became colder, and the shadows seemed to reach out, beckoning me into their abyss. Suddenly, the silence shattered as the room filled with an otherworldly presence. Krampus stood before me, towering and menacing, his form illuminated by an otherworldly glow. His eyes pierced through me, filled with an ancient knowledge and judgment. I tried to hide, to disappear into the darkness, but there was nowhere to run. His gaze locked onto mine, and I felt a chill so profound, it seeped into my very soul. In that moment, I knew there was no escape from my fate. Krampus approached slowly, his chains clinking ominously with each step. His clawed hand reached out, and as I trembled in terror, he spoke not with words, but with a chilling understanding. He knew my misdeeds, my fears, my every secret. Time seemed to stand still as he loomed over me, his presence consuming everything. And then, with a gesture that felt both final and foreboding, he vanished into the night, leaving me trembling in a state of shock and awe. I sat there, shaken to my core, knowing that I had narrowly escaped his grasp. But the encounter left an indelible mark on my soul, a reminder that the stories were not just tales spun to scare children. They held truths beyond the realm of our understanding, a reminder to heed the warnings and tread the path of goodness.